Also, we know that interfaith leaders are proposing a national day of prayer as South Africa is reeling from this mass looting and violence, mayhem and chaos we've seen in the last few days, since last week, Friday, when the trucks were first set alight at the Mooi River Plaza on the N3 highway in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, President Ramaphosa meeting with religious leaders yesterday, continuing to consult various sectors. Today, we understand he was going to be meeting with political party leaders. One of them is Reverend Kenneth Meshoe. He's also a religious leader, but he's a politician as well, heading up the ACDP party. Let's not forget its full name, African Christian Democratic Party. Dr. Meshoe, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday View. Thank you very much for your patience. We were live now at the Jabulani Mall in Soweto, seeing a group of government leaders arriving there on the ground, trying to promote a different approach to things today. A bit of calmness in Soweto today from our reporter, Slindelo Masigane, and some community assistance beginning to take place. Your view, I mean, it's like you're waking up maybe from a nightmare, or we're still in the nightmare.
And firstly, I must say that what is happening in our country now is heartbreaking. Not one of us anticipated that something like this would ever happen, because we have never seen something like this happening anywhere in the world. But to expect that to happen in South Africa, in the new democracy, is something that none of us ever thought it would happen. And having said that, in our meeting with the President earlier today, one of the concerns I raised personally, and other leaders also supported that, is that I believe intelligence in a country, security and intelligence officers have failed us, because they should have picked this thing up. I hear people saying they thought it was just a normal protest. But the fact is, when it started in KZN, and people started saying, after KZN, after looting and destroying properties in KZN, they are going to Gauteng. One would have expected that there would have been a barricade. There would have been both the police and the soldiers, because the crowds we saw there were massive, and nothing was done about that. I mean, even right now, we talk about the ministers, obviously, and the police who are now being seen in communities, but it's after the event, after damage has been done.
Why do you think the intelligence failed us? Why do you think they acted proactively? What's the genesis of this failure?
Well, our intelligence obviously has had complaints against for a number of years. I mean, when you hear also about illegal immigrants coming into the country, you hear about, and we saw a number of xenophobic attacks happening in our country, there would be pre-warnings, signs that something like this was going to happen, and yet they would not pick it up. They would not do anything until it happens. So exactly what happened in the past is a repeat of what we are having now. Intelligence has to have their ear on the ground, be in the community, talk to people, hear what is happening. If people are disgruntled about poor service delivery, if they are planning to have a violent protest, they need to pick it up. But unfortunately, they didn't pick it up.
As we talk, sorry, Reverend, sorry to cut in there because of time. As we're talking to you, we're showing live visuals of different parts of Gauteng. We were in Jabulani Mall a short while ago, where some government leaders were there. Now we've shifted our live visuals. We're bringing our viewers live visuals from Vosloorus in Ekurhuleni in Gauteng, where we understand a grade 7 pupil has been shot and killed allegedly by local taxi operators earlier. And we saw some of them firing live ammunition at the local community. The situation is very bad and tense at the moment in Vosloorus. If, as you say, the failure of intelligence has been there for a long time, Reverend Meshoe has been coming for a long time, and you raised it with the meeting today, earlier today, with the President, the whole issue of intelligence failure, how did the President respond to your point?
The unfortunate thing today is that the questions we raised were not answered because of time. We started the meeting at 10 o'clock and at about 1 o'clock, because you know that everybody had to say what was on his chest, and also ask questions. So we raised issues of concern and asked questions. So he unfortunately did not answer those specific questions about intelligence. But we are going to follow this matter up.
Okay. But do you think there's been a deliberate attempt to destabilize South Africa, to destabilize the state? I'm asking this in this context. While you were in the meeting earlier with the president, before it finished at 1 o'clock, I interviewed Zizi Kodwa, the Deputy Minister of State Security. And he says they've picked up that, unfortunately, former security state agents are fueling and instigating this nonsense in KwaZulu-Natal.
Well, it is true. That is the case. You know, the way the people have been organized, you could see that there is somebody with experience who knew where to touch, where to go, at what stage. You know, coordination was very good.
Oh, we lost Reverend Meshoe. Maybe we ran out of time. Apologies for that. We were talking there to Reverend Meshoe, and he's gone. We're just trying to understand what they know. They had a meeting earlier today with the president, the religious leaders, and that's where we're going to have to leave it. He says this whole thing is a failure of intelligence. I'm sure there's going to be a lot said about this as we continue into the days ahead. And, of course, the growing narrative that says that there are former security state agents who are orchestrating the whole thing, running the whole thing, masterminding the whole thing. Why? They want to destabilize the state. Maybe they expected the police and the law enforcement agents to respond with live ammunition, and many more people would have died. And maybe, who knows? I mean, if you take this down the line, that whole argument, this equation ends up with a kind of a civil war in the country. We don't really want that. But that was Reverend Kenneth Meshoe saying that they've raised the concerns around the capacity of the intelligence functionality, capability of the South African state today. Now,